My name is Santariga, and my paranormal experience happened in 2006, I believe it was. It was August. I'd woken up with a terrible migraine, didn't understand why. So I took all the meds that I could take to make it go away. Couldn't get it to go away. And I went to the doctor and they gave me medicine and nothing worked. And I had been back to the doctor 4 weeks in a row, and they couldn't figure out why I was having these terrible migraines. They wanted to do a spinal tap on me, and I have a cousin who's a doctor, and he said, "Oh, don't let them do that. You're going to be in so much pain." And so while this was going on up here in the Northeast where I live, in September, we have 2 or 3 different powwows where the local Native Americans from different tribes will go, and they go to these different parks and they do these powwows and rituals. And I always enjoy going there. The kids enjoy going there. So we went to a place called Bear Mountain Park, and we pulled into the park and we're walking through the area where they have all the, not the tent setup, but like little shops where they sell all kinds of jewelry and stuff like that. And my son was really small. He was in a stroller. My daughter was about, I guess, 8 or 10 or something like that. And we're walking, and a shaman comes out from a tent. A Native American comes out, not from one of these little shops. And he says, "You have something dark attached to your aura. Your aura is black. And if you'd like, I can cleanse it for you." And I was like, okay, now I've tried everything under the sun to get rid of this migraine. And I'm thinking maybe if he cleanses me, the migraine will go away. So I said, "How much is it going to cost me?" And he said, "No, I won't charge you anything. Just come inside and I'll start the ceremony." So I said, okay. I told my wife, take the kids and shop around and come back here in a little while, and we'll get together and we'll go out to the big field where they had all the stuff that we're doing, the dancing and everything. And I go inside this little booth, and I'm sitting in this room, and there's another Native American there. He's beating on a drum, a tom-tom, and this old man who comes out, he starts with the sage, and he's saging this little room, this makeshift shop. That's what it was. They were all makeshift shops. And he's saging. And at one point, there was so much smoke in the room. It looked like the room was on fire. And I couldn't see the old man dancing around me. And I couldn't see the other guy who was beating on the tom-tom. But I can hear the gentleman on the tom-tom, and I could hear the shaman dancing around me, singing, chanting and doing whatever he does. And it was a very, very weird experience. And I'm stood there and I'm just letting these guys go. And I got my eyes closed and I'm taking all of this in. And at some point, the ritual was over and they clear out all the smoke. And I hear the shaman going through a drawer full with different kinds of stones. And he takes out a stone and he puts it in a leather pouch and he tells me to wear it. And he says, "This will protect you from the negative energy that was, attached to you. And don't ever take this off. This will always protect you." And I was like, okay. And when I went outside into the sunlight, miraculously, my migraine was gone. I don't know what he did, but my migraine was gone. And we went and we enjoyed the festivities of the day. And it was an amazing thing. And that was in September, because I started the treatment in August. That was in September. Halloween rolls around and we take the kids trick-or-treating. And my daughter was Dorothy that Halloween. And my son was a little pirate. We take them around the neighborhood with all the other families and we walk around. We do the whole trick-or-treating thing and we come back and we're tired and we just want to go to bed and tell the kids you can get the treats tomorrow. I'm exhausted. And we're in bed and the heat is pumping because it's really, really cold and I'm sweating bullets. And I decide that necklace that I'm wearing around my neck is making me sweat even more. So I said, let me just take it off and I'll put it on the dresser on the side of the bed for tonight. And I'm laying there and I have a 125-pound German Shepherd at the foot of my bed. The kids are in the next room over. My daughter and my son are sleeping in the same room. And there's a hallway and a full bathroom in between us. I was sleeping there. I'm laying there. And all of a sudden, a bright light comes through my window. And I leave my body. I'm out of my body. And I'm sitting on the headboard of the top of my headboard, which is a square headboard, and it has shelves and everything on it. And you could place stuff across the top of it if you like. And I see myself sitting on my headboard, looking down at me sleeping, and my wife and my dog. And there are two large, 5-foot-tall gray aliens in my room. And they have their hands open wide. They're both trying to elevate me off the bed, and they're kind of guiding me towards the window. And I'm thinking to myself, as I'm watching this, first I'm thinking, why isn't my German Shepherd ripping these people up because he's been canine trained? Why is he sleeping through this? Then I start thinking, well, how are they going to get me through the windows? The windows are closed and it's freezing outside and the heat is pumping. How are they going to get me through a solid window? And I'm trying to figure out what is going on. And these two tall gray aliens, they don't see me on top of the headboard. They're just focused on me and picking me up and moving me out. When my daughter starts screaming to high heaven in her room. And when my daughter starts screaming, I pop back into my body. The two aliens that were in the room disappear. Boom, they're gone. The light that's coming through the room shuts off. It's gone. The dog jumps up, makes a beeline for the kids' room. My wife is right behind the dog. I'm behind my wife. We get into the kids' room. And my daughter is wrapped around my son's legs, holding him down. And my son is sitting up crying hysterical because he doesn't know what's going on. And I turned to her and I said, Amanda, what's going on? And she says, Daddy, a light came through the window and then Dorothy appeared to me and told me, don't worry, we're just going to take Nicholas out to the light, and then when we're done, we're going to bring Nicholas back. My daughter said, nope, you can't have my brother. And she was holding him down. And this image of Dorothy, because that's what they showed themselves to her as, because she was just Dorothy that night. They knew she wouldn't be afraid of Dorothy. They were having a tug of war with my son, but she wouldn't let him go. And when she started screaming and everybody woke up, they blinked out. Now, we put the kids back to bed. It didn't, to me, I said, Amanda, it doesn't make any sense. Dorothy is good. She's not like the Wicked Witch of the West. Why would she be taking Nicholas? And she said, I don't know, Dad, but they were trying to take Nicholas out the window to the light. So I said, okay. We put the kids back to bed. We put the dog in between the two kids. We went back to bed ourselves. We woke up in the morning. I went to feel for my necklace and I realized I didn't have it on that night. So I put the necklace on and I turned to my wife and I said, did that really happen last night with Amanda and Nicholas? And she said, yes. She said, I don't know what happened, but, Amanda started screaming and we ran in there and she told us this crazy story about Dorothy trying to take Nicholas. And now I'm thinking they were trying to abduct me as well at the same time they were taking my son. Now, honest to God, I don't know what type blood my son has, but I know I'm HR negative. So everybody goes downstairs. The kids can't get downstairs fast enough to get to their Halloween candy from the night before. My wife is going downstairs to make coffee. I said, I'll be down in a minute. And the shaman told me when he gave me the necklace, he said, whatever you do, don't take this off and never take the stone out of the pouch. Because if you touch it with your hands, it will lose all of its healing powers, protection powers. Well, I was very curious to see what that stone looked like. So I poured the stone out of the pouch. And when I picked it up, I used like a bandana to pick it up because I didn't want to touch it with my hands. And I picked it up and I touched and I was looking at it. And it was in the shape of an alien head. It was elongated on top, and on the flat side of the stone, it had 2 dots for eyes and a nose and a red dot for a mouth. Now, I don't know if this happens naturally on this stone or what, but I don't think somebody painted this face on this stone. I think it just happened to work out. So I'm looking at the stone. I don't know what kind of stone this is. To me, it looks like a sandstone, but I'm not a gemologist. So I have no clue. So I put the stone back in the pouch. I put the pouch back on. I never touch it with my hands. And a year goes by and the powwow comes back. So I'm going to the powwow now because I want to talk to the shaman who gave me the stone because I want to find out what the stone is and why he gave me this particular stone. So we go back to the same location where he was the year before, and there's no shaman in this area. It's just jewelry and shirts and stuff like that. I run across the director of the facility who was putting on the powwow, and I asked him, I said, where is the shaman that was in this booth last year? Because I want to ask him a question. And he looked at me and he says, what are you talking about? I said, well, there was a shaman here last year and he did a ritual on me. He cleansed me and he gave me this necklace with this pouch with the stone in it. And I want to ask him what kind of stone it is because I've had a really weird experience. And the stone kind of looks like the aliens that were abducting me, you know? And he goes, first of all, he goes, we don't have shaman. We have medicine men. That's number one. Second of all, the medicine men are not up here with everybody selling jewelry. They're at the other end of the park in that teepee circle at the other end of the park. If you go down there, you can talk to the elders and the medicine men, but we don't do shamans. That's only for South America or the Far East. We don't use shamans. So I go to the far end of the park and I sit down with all the elders and I sit down with the medicine men and I talk to them and they look at the stone and they say, I said, I think it's a sandstone. And they go, what do you think? And they looked at me and they said, nope, it's not a sandstone. This is a tiger's eye. And we don't use tiger eye. We use stones, yes, but we don't use tiger eyes as a healing stone or a protection stone. It's not a stone that we find common around here. So it's not a stone that we would use. I'm at a loss. I don't know if my son wasn't being abducted at the same time I was, and I would have been abducted and brought back. I would have thought it was just a crazy dream. I would have never thought in a million years that actually happened. It was my daughter that validated that experience to me. And that's just one of my abduction scenarios. There was another time When my daughter got older, we gave her our bedroom, and my son got their room, and we moved downstairs to the first floor, to the bedroom down on the first floor. And one night, again, it was a cold November night. I'm sleeping in my bed, and I wake up in the wee hours of the morning, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I see a bright light coming through my window. Now, I don't understand, how a bright light could be coming through a first floor window, especially when my yard is surrounded by trees. And again, I have a 125-pound German Shepherd sitting at the foot of the bed. And at first, I don't see anything but the light. And then I kind of focus in, and I notice that there are 2 gray aliens in the room, but they're not the 5-foot aliens. These aliens are small, 2.5, 3 feet tall at the most. Very thin, very fragile looking. So I'm looking at them. They're not looking at me. They're standing over my knees, and they're moving their hands in a circular motion over my knees, and they're humming some kind of hum. I don't know what they were doing. And at that point in time, I was getting ready to have a total knee replacement on both of my legs. And I said to myself, wouldn't this be amazing if they're healing my legs and I don't have to go through the surgeries? How amazing would that be, right? And I'm looking at them, and then I think, why isn't my dog attacking these aliens? Why is my dog sleeping through this? Again, just like the last time. And I noticed that one of them is starting to come up the bed towards me, getting closer towards my upper body. And I said to myself, I wonder if they can hear my thoughts. And I look at them, and neither one of them pays me any mind. Like, they can't hear my thoughts. So I said, interesting. I wonder if they can hear it and they're not letting me know they can hear it, or if they really just can't hear my thoughts. I don't know. So as one is he's getting closer and closer and closer. I'm a pretty big guy, worked out my whole life, and this alien is a little scrawny thing, and I say to myself in my head, I'm thinking, because I'm awake, I'm not paralyzed by any stretch of the imagination. I can move all of my extremities. My eyes are wide open. I know I'm looking at him, and I say to myself in my head, when he gets a little closer, I'm going to reach out and grab him. I want to see if he's got the ability to make me let him go. And as soon as that thought came to my mind, they both stopped dead in their tracks. They looked at me. Their hands went up like if someone was pointing a gun at them. And they went, ooh, and they blinked out, and they were gone. And the moment they blinked out, my dog jumped right up and looked around like he was looking for somebody. And he was looking at me like he was confused, and I was looking at him. And those are just 2 of my possible abduction stories. I've had many UFO sightings of all different kinds of crafts. I've experienced all kinds of UFO experiences. And I think we're going to leave it at that for now. Thank you.
If you've had a paranormal experience and would like to be a guest on the show, please contact us by going to myparax.com. That's myparaex.com. Thanks for listening.